Welcome to the Serpentine Creative Channel. I'm your host, Stella Williams, and you're watching Author Talk. Today on Author Talk, I have a very special guest, my dear old dad. And if you have been watching my StereoGoals videos or paying attention to my blog, I mentioned, that my dad is a music producer and he's hooked me up immensely with my programming and everything. And in trying to do this audiobook on my own, I was really struggling, and thankfully my dad just happened to be coming up on a vacation to come visit me, so of course I harangued him into my office to help me out. And so I figured I would rope him into doing a video with me just to give a little advice for the audiobook aspiring authors. So, Dad, what is your recommendation on an audio recording software for someone who is completely unaware and doesn't have someone as amazing as you to guide them? What would be your go-to program for audiobook recording?
For me, it would pretty much be any program that you can afford. The thing to do is YouTube. So say like I use Reason. So anything that pop up in my mind that I want to do, I will go on YouTube and search on YouTube for that. And because of that, I've learned how to do so many editing tricks. You have to find one that best suits you, because you might go on there and say, okay, I want to know how to record vocals. And there might be 100 things on there for recording vocals. So you got to kind of skip through them and see what you do. If you do music and you say you sing R&B and you want to do vocals for R&B, then go on YouTube and say, okay, how do you do R&B vocals in Reason, or Studio One, or Ableton, or whatever, Pro Tools, whatever software that you decide that you want to use. It's very important that you do your research. Do your research, go on YouTube, ask questions, and you'd be surprised if, you can go online and like on, for Reasons, they have the Propeller Head site on Facebooks. You can go on there, and I'm quite sure they have a Studio One site, or Pro Tools, or whatever program you're using. They have it right there on Facebook, and you can go and join that group and also ask questions. To me, being someone who was kind of like self-taught, I had to teach myself how to do everything. And I really didn't start learning a more professional pro approach to recording until I started going on YouTube and doing like what I'm saying, to do now. Research. And don't be scared to ask questions. You must ask questions.
And I know for me, my biggest issue with trying to do it on myself is dealing with like basically the excess room noise, whether it was my computer or my hard drive kicking up, or maybe my kids or my fan or whatever, anything that was going on. So what is like maybe one or two pro tips for minimizing noise in your recordings?
One of the things that a lot of beginners, and me myself, I'm guilty of it. Uh, when we get a little bit of money, we want to spend that money on, more equipment and sounds, and and what happens is the most powerful thing that I think you can put in a studio is a line conditioner. And what that is to make it simple, you plug it into the wall and then you plug all of your gear into that line conditioner, and that will help you keep noise out of your recording and keep it sends a clean signal. It took me over 10 years to put in my mind that I needed one of those. When I that should have been one of the first things that I bought when I started trying to make music that I wanted to actually let people hear, because it was always a hobby with me, and I didn't think I was good enough to do music to put out there to let people listen to, until someone pulled my shirt tail and said, "Hey, don't worry about what people think about your music. If you have one person like your music, you try to reach that one person." And when I got to that point, it's like I if I like a song, I put it out there. I don't. Everybody have their own issues as far as putting music out. I have friends that's professional musicians, and you'll never hear anything they ever recorded because they like, hey, if you ain't paying me, you can't hear it. But I'm kind of at another level with that because I went out and had me a job, and I worked and retired, and now I can do whatever I want to do musically, because music don't put food on my table. So I can pretty much do whatever I want to do any way I want to do it. But getting back, I'm sorry, I lost track, but getting back to that line mixer, if you can't afford a line mixer, a long time ago, one little trick that we did, we used hospital plugs. We would go buy, the plug, like when you go in your bathroom or something, you got the plug with the reset button on it. We would take one of those and put it in the room where our studio was and plug into that. And if one of the things that we used to do would, we would go get a grounding rod, and we would go outside and hammer that grounding rod down into the ground and then run that ground to that plug. And that helped that line noise out. You have to know that the plugs in your house is pretty much linked to something. You know, the plug in your room where you have your studio could be hooked with the microwave. It could be with your refrigerator, your washer, your dryer, and you're getting all that noise. You know, some of you, you hook everything up, hook all your cords up, and then when you go to record, you have your mic on, and even though you're not saying nothing, you notice that meter is jumping. And 9 times out of 10, that's line noise from something else running in the house. So in order to eliminate that, you buy that line conditioner, and they are a lot cheaper now. You can find line conditioners for $100, whatever. Now, if you want to take your music to another level, you definitely need that line conditioner.
All right. And audiobooks, if this is something that you feel like you're going to continue doing for all of your books, doing it yourself, or possibly get into audiobook narration as a side gig, then definitely investing in the proper equipment is
Yes.
a good idea. And as for the hospital plugs and running a grounding wire, this is not advice from licensed electrician or anything, so DIY at your own risk.
Yeah, you should.
Disclaimer.
You should get someone to do that for you. That's for sure. Because you can kill yourself doing messing with stuff, electrical stuff like that. But I just wanted to give like a history of how I started uh, recording and stuff. It's been a long road, long road. Um,
So,
so
Dad, on my wind down with the Williams sisters video, we had a discussion about whether you and Mom read my books. So, have you read any of my books aside from the one from Xander's Claim, which you helped me with the first attempt at audiobook for?
no, I haven't. I've skipped through them, but I haven't read like sat down and read the whole book because I'm not a reader. Never really have been. All I read is hot rod books and music manuals. But what I do is my fan base is, I have like very large fan base for my music and stuff. So what I do whenever you send me an email with anything that you're doing, uh, I forward that to like maybe 1,500 to 1,600 people. So I focus on that. I focus on putting it out there. That's always been my pet peeve, is putting it out there, because if you don't reach your fan base is the most important thing in the world, and you want to generate that fan base. And my me, if I was doing an audiobook and stuff, uh, believe me, anybody who knows me know that uh, they get emails, texts, notifications from me on every song I do. Everything. I'm constantly putting it out there. And it's pros and cons. Like I said, it's always somebody that's hating somebody for whatever, they don't like your music or whatever. But it can be that one person. You can reach that one person who might know somebody who might like what you do, and that's the person that that you're going after. If I tell people, if pay attention to what you're doing. If you put it out there and you don't get no hits, you don't get nothing, then you know that maybe you need to go back to the drawing board, you know, and start all over and keep putting stuff out there until something do hit. Just don't get discouraged. Don't ever get discouraged. If this is your passion, do it. Don't let nobody stop you from doing it. And I figure, me, I do music, so the fan base is probably easier to get. And so I listen to all my own music. You listen to all of your everything you do. I put it in my car. Old school way learned to me is still the best way. I listen to it in my car, on the boombox, radio. Anybody tell you that know me know, if you get in Big Swang's car, you're going to be listening to Big Swang's music. If you come in and we listening, I got company and we listening to music, I'm like, hey, listen to this. I'm promoting all the time, promoting my music. And that's what I do. And I'm not a professional, but I get royalties. So, I tell my friends all the time that's out there doing it, getting paid. And they say, Eric, what you doing? I say, I'm retired now. I'm just at home. It's just still my hobby. But when they start talking about me, I say, well, at least I get royalties. I get a check. So I might, anybody can do what I do. If I can do it, you can do it. I started off doing music, pushing my fingers one key on that keyboard. And till this day, I'm not a good singer, but I do it anyway. I just keep pushing. Keep pushing. You can't do nothing but get better. You know, you just keep pushing and follow your passion. You know, it's just what you want to do. You want to write books, whatever kind of book you want to write, keep writing. You know, just don't never stop. Just keep doing it. That's eventually, if it's in your cards for something big to happen, it'll happen. If not, you have fun. Keep it fun. That's the most important thing. Keep it fun.
All right, and one last question. You are one of the biggest, influences for me as far as like what I watched growing up and being into like watching Star Wars and going to go see like and watching Mad Max and Dune and all of that sort of things. The whole sci-fi and westerns and stuff. So what is your favorite sci-fi or fantasy movie or TV show, and uh, and what is your favorite black sci-fi movie and TV show? I always put them separate because it's a little unfair to just ask for one. No.
Well, I like Eddie Murphy. You know, when he was the vampire, his vampire
Oh,
movie.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Vampire in Brooklyn. Um, I like the old black exploit movies. You know, Blackula, and I think the funniest uh, sci-fi movie I've ever seen was Black Frankenstein, because even on the movie they admit that they ran out of funding. You know, I mean, Black Superman. I'm sorry, uh, they ran out of funding, and so he didn't fly. You know, it would just be a puff of smoke, and he'd be standing there. And me and my friends watched that, and we cried laughing. You know, I would have to say uh, the old black exploit movies, all the sci-fis were hilarious, and that I would say that's my favorite, because next to that it would be something crazy like Inframan or something like that. You know, I like Godzilla, the originals. You know, that stuff. You know, but yeah, I would say that. My favorite movies, period. I like war pictures, so anytime a war picture is on, it has my attention. I'm watching, war pictures, and other than that, westerns. I love westerns. Outlaw Josie Wells was my favorite, western, and and other than that, I'm watching Two-Lane Blacktop and all these hot rod uh, movies. You know, that's what I like.
So
So
if I wrote a western, like a spaghetti western, almost like Firefly, where it's space, but it's like western, and but then it's like my twist on romance. Would you read that book?
probably, yeah, I probably would. I mean, long as I pick it up and it holds my attention, I'll read it. You know, like I say, I'm not really that reader like that, but like I read to learn um, things that cross my path. You know, like if I want to hook something up in the house or something and I don't know how to hook it up, believe me, I'll get that manual and I'll read that manual for about 10 seconds and then I'll go do it. And I've been doing that all my life. So I don't suggest anybody else do that, because I'm that person. I'm that person that I'll look at the pictures and then I'll go out there and I'll do it. You know, all I need to know is just to get a guide. But a lot of people needs to dig into them books a lot deeper than what I do to do things. You know, luckily I ain't blew nothing up or electrocuted myself or anything like that. So yeah, what can I say?
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for Author Talk Stereo Goals Week 3. So, since I have my daddy here this weekend, I will hopefully be making some progress on my audiobook. And I'll definitely be updating you guys on that. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day.
See ya.